Morning, councillors. Welcome along to the briefing meeting for the council meeting that will be held on the 26th of July 22. We've got two apologies, Councillor Trevor and Councillor Honour. No others that I'm aware of. All right, first item is D1. It's a petition, councillors, so won't be any discussion today. At the meeting, obviously, it'll be noted and received. It's in regards to the request to reopen the Gin Visitor Information Centre. I'll move on to item F1, financial summary. Thanks, Simon. Sorry, Councillor, I should have asked whether there is any conflicts of interest to be declared for any of the items. Councillor, yes, McPhee?
Sorry, I'll be leaving the room for G3.
G3,
Thanks,
thank you,
Gavin.
Councillor McPhee. Any else? No others? Thank you. Sorry, Simon, over to you, mate.
And councillors, financial summary at 30th of June 2022. The current preliminary result shows a significant improvement from the original budget forecast, with operating surplus currently running at 5.6%. Worth noting that of this, 68% or approximately 2/3 relates to timing, whether it be deferral of projects or timing of grants. About 32% or a third is, I suppose, a better than anticipated financial outcome for the year. So it's a good result and further builds on the strong foundation, financial foundation and position of council. However, as outlined previously as part of the budget workshops, we do have some inflationary pressures right now, and also some of the income elements may not be sustainable into the future. It's also probably worth highlighting that the general fund, prior to any distribution from the other funds, is still in a deficit position. In terms of the result, as outlined in previous reports, the water consumption was around $1 million less than budget. That was purely due to less water being consumed than in prior years around some of the wet weather that we've recently had. Fees and charges are about 2.1 million higher than budget. Some of the key drivers there were private works in the water and sewerage areas, as well as some higher prices for our scrap metal sales. And land sales for the year, we settled 10 parcels for the year, and there's a further 3 that we expect will settle early in the next financial year. In terms of expenditure, employee costs in relation to operations were higher. However, employees were focusing on delivery of the capital program, and accordingly the overall employee costs were lower than budget. Materials and services was 6.1 below budget, and a lot of that's relation to non-capital projects associated with the delivery of the capital program. Finance costs were marginally higher due to the fact that we drew down our loan last year earlier than forecast to lock in a lower interest rate, and depreciation was lower than budget this year, mainly due to the timing of the commissioning of the assets. Despite this, next year will be more significant challenge in terms of our depreciation amount, given that the revaluation and indexation rates applied to that asset base this year were a lot higher than CPI. Capital expenditure for the year, 70% financially delivered. It's anticipated that the balance will be considered for carryover into next year, and that will be presented at the August meeting for council's consideration. Rates outstanding at the reporting date were 3.2 million. That's gross, and that represents 1.8% of the current year's rates. Comparatively to last year, that was 4.1 million or 2.4%. The levy for the first half of the current financial year will be issued in late July, and the loans at the reporting date were 99.6 million.
Any questions, councillors? No. Thanks, Simon. Next item, G1, specialised supplier arrangement. Christine?
Good morning, councillors. Item G1 is in relation to a specialised supplier arrangement with LG Software Solutions, which is Pulse Software. Council's been utilising Pulse since September 2018 when it was implemented. Council uses this software for corporate planning and operational plans, so our key performance indicator reporting that we do. our risk management system, and also our internal audit corrective items are reported through Pulse. Council has an existing specialised supplier arrangement adopted by Council in July 2019, and that arrangement is due to expire at the end of July this year. The team have been exploring other products offerings in the market for functionality. This was also triggered as part of an internal audit that we've recently completed in regard to corporate reporting. So the team are exploring other offerings that are available, and the recommendation to Council is that the specialised supply arrangement that we have at the moment for Pulse be extended for a period of 12 months to allow the team to do some more investigation for other product offerings, and apply the section 235B of the local government regulation.
No questions. Next item.
The next item is G2, which is the operational plan report for quarter 4. So Council's adopted its operational plan for the 2021-2022 financial year at its special budget meeting in June last year. In accordance with section 174 of the local government regulation, the Chief Executive Officer is required to present a written assessment of Council's progress towards implementing the annual operational plan. The operational plan report that is provided for councillors provides a process of monitoring and assessing council's progress in meeting the goals of the corporate plan. And the recommendation is that the operational plan for quarter 4 be received and noted by council.
Any questions, councillors? No. Item G3, Councillor McPhee, you're stepping out for this one.
Thank you.
Councillors, item G3 is about a lease renewal to Bartolo. So councillors will be aware that the state-owned reserve for botanical gardens, council is a trustee of. There's a lease area D, which Mr. Bartolo currently operates Cafe 1928 from. That lease is due to expire on the 30th of November 2022, and Mr. Bartolo has approached council wishing to renew his lease. It's proposed that the new lease be for a period of 5 years and be on council standard terms, and market rent will be applicable. The tenant will be responsible for all maintenance of the premises, and structural maintenance as usual would be council's responsibility. It's recommended to council that you apply the exception contained in section 2361C3 of the local government regulation, given that this is a renewal to an existing tenant of the land, and that the CEO be authorised to enter into a lease with Mr. Bartolo for lease area D being part of the botanical gardens for a term of 5 years.
Any questions, councillors? All right, I might get Councillor McPhee back in. Item G4, show holiday nomination. Anthony.
Each year we do make application to the Office of Industrial Relations for our public show holidays. This year, as we've done previously, we've got received information back or request back from the 2 show societies, being the postcode 4671 for Gingin area, and then the Bundaberg Show Society. And they've nominated the dates there that we've put before you, and so it'll be the 2 days. First Thursday the 1st of June for all areas outside of 4670, and then the Monday the 7th of August for the which is for Gingin, which is the People's Day, or prior to the People's Day at the Brisbane Eka, which is tradition. Any questions?
No questions, councillors? Okay, item G5, Christmas close down.
Christmas close down. In the past, council has agreed to close the administration offices, service centres and depots for the period between Christmas and New Year's each year. There is 3 actual working days between that period, which staff are offered to take either annual leave or RDOs or any toil that they've made accrued during that period of time. So we're just seeking council's approval to carry on that tradition and shut those customer-facing service centres during that period.
No questions, councillors? No. Thank you, Anthony. Next item is K1, request for extended completion date. Richard?
Item K1 on the agenda deals with a request for an extension of the completion date of the building Bundaberg Region 2020 incentives package. The request relates to a development permit for a material change of use at Clark's Road, Delan, and it relates to the extension of the extractive industry that's currently operating in that area. The original incentives dated from June 2019 provided for a 50% reduction in the infrastructure charges that were applicable to that development, and associated with the development industry recovery package that council supported, there was a 2-year extension to that incentive, taking the extension date up to the 26th of June 2022 as detailed in your report. To date, there's been no works that have commenced on that extension of the quarry under the development permit, and no further development approvals such as operational works have been obtained from the council. The owners, through their consultants, have requested that the completion date for the infrastructure incentive be extended by a further 18 months to the 17th of October 2024, with that extended date aligning with the lapsing date for the development approval, noting that there's been an 18-month extension to all development approvals in Queensland granted by the Planning Minister for the special circumstances. As detailed in the report, although the development hasn't progressed, there has been a number of studies that the developer has been undertaking, including those relating to the federal legislation of the Environmental Protection, Biodiversity and Conservation Act requirements and some cultural heritage surveys. So there has been some work undertaken to help progress the development application, but no physical work on site. So on the basis of the request, it's recommended that the extension be granted and that Council agreed to extended completion date to the 17th of October 2024 to align with the lapsing date of the development approval.
Any questions, councillors? No? Well done, Richard. Well, that's the end of the business for briefing meeting today. So thank you for everyone's attendance.